these TikTok brands, you see the numbers they're doing. And I mean, it's just wild how many more verticals there are for nutrition. And, looking at the
Mhm.
ingredient side, it's like, I had no idea that vertical existed. Holy crap.
Yeah.
It's wild. And the internet has opened the opportunity for, brands to enter the verticals, also vertical specific brands. You look at TikTok, you look at Amazon only brands. I mean, you're just seeing a whole plethora of things, and soon you'll see X do the same thing. They're going to have a marketplace. I know Elon's going to roll that out where they're going to
Yeah, he'd
have
be
an
dumb not
Amazon
to.
competitor.
Right.
I mean, he's going to do it. I mean, that was the reason for changing the name to X. It's the
Right.
everything app.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously shopping is going to be on there, but steering into kind of industry focus kind of things. I think a lot of us get really enamored with certain ingredients. Like I remember when Velocitol came out.
You
And
like
I read
talking
the
about
initial.
muscle, yeah.
I put in a protein bar. I
Yep.
put it in a coffee additive.
Mhm.
I put it in an intra workout. I think when can you not use this ingredient? And you look at the outlay of what's kind of come out. We do have some really fascinating things. Like I think NNB and Sean did a great job of paraxanthine. I think a lot of brands have jumped on. Cognizant has been around for dozens of years, and it just now hit this like peak where
Mhm.
everybody's using Cognizant. They have some good, structure function claims on that. It's a fantastic ingredient.
That's because they're working with Price Plow too, right?
Yeah, I think so.
That's right. We love them. Yeah.
I think so. So just looking at, do you feel that we've kind of seen a resurgence in these branded, study-backed, structure function claim-backed products, ingredients, unlike we've ever seen? I think we're there. I think we're getting very innovative with ingredients.
Absolutely. Okay. So, I mean, there's a lot to unpack here from a mile high view. The thing that the answer is yes, and everything like brand ingredients. The people that we know that are absolutely crushing it, murdering it in terms of business are IP holders. So,
Yes.
if you have a very, very novel and defensible and non-obvious idea, like getting a patent may be worth the trouble. It's going to cost money. It's going to cost time. You're going to need science. You're
Or
going to need
100 or so of them.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
like that's but once you have a patent, you can really start putting efforts into it because you can defend it and everything. And so we've seen how that works out. And a lot of people may or may not like it, but like this is just the state of the world right now, is that having a patent allows you like the breathing room to start running research and everything. So we've definitely seen this, and these are the companies that are also the ones who are buttoned up and professional that I like to work with too. So like maybe my view is slanted and everything, but then now these companies are also too, like I call it, too big to get sued. Like Cognizant's gonna be very, very pure CDP choline because the Japanese are not going to allow themselves to fail here. So so like there is a level of trust. Just because something's patented and trademarked doesn't mean that it's going to be 100% on spec, but chances are it is. And so there's been a great thing. Now, like taking a step back further, like one thing that no one's talking about that I'm starting to bring up on our podcast is that there's this whole new way of making ingredients that are coming out. Like traditionally you had chemical synthesis, like just straight up chemistry. And then you had extraction. So you get like, you get the plant and you extract the actives out of it. However, what's happening now is this third thing called fermentation or precision fermentation. And I think no one knows about this, or not enough people are talking about it. And I'm kind of just trying to put it out there. And it's not my job if people know me enough, they'll know I have opinions and stuff. But in terms of Price Plow's news coverage, it's not my job to get my opinion out there. It's our job to get information out there and allow the brands to formulate and allow the consumers to decide what they want to, put in their bodies and what they don't want to put in their bodies and what they want to do with their lives. Okay. So that's kind of one thing where I've kind of changed. With Price Plow is not my personal platform anymore, in my opinion, despite being a majority owner and everything. Yeah. Now, with that said, what is happening is a lot of these ingredients are being created with precision fermentation. And we had a really good episode with Laura Katz of Helena on, and what they're doing is that they take either it's a yeast. In this case, you could get like a yeast, a bacteria, a microbe of some sort, and you can genetically modify this bacteria or this yeast. In this case, in the case of this lactoferrin ingredient called Afera, it is a yeast, I'm pretty sure. And so You genetically modify it, and it will then, and you feed it the right stuff, and it will output or excrete, or whatever word you want to use, it'll output your active ingredient. And it'll do it in a very, and then you clean it out, purify, get rid of the yeast itself, and you have an extraordinarily pure ingredient. Now, this is happening. We're changing. So we're basically changing the genetics of these microbes or yeast or bacteria, and we're getting them to give us active ingredients. Is crazy, and no one is even talking about this. And so that's like kind of what's happening now. What's really cool about this Afera lactoferrin, for instance, is that they are using it to provide us a bioequivalent of human lactoferrin. Because normally we're if you go buy a lactoferrin supplement, you're going, and I'm a huge believer in this, for like, I use it and all that stuff. If you get bovine lactoferrin, which is what I'm currently using most of the time, you're going to have to get that from cow's milk, which requires a ton of milk. And it's not exactly the same molecule or same protein. It's an iron binding protein. It's not the same protein as the human one. So we're taking this cow's one and we get a slight immune reaction. Like, your immune system kind of got to clean it up a little bit. So but the stuff is still fantastic, even if you take bovine lactoferrin. This Helena company, they're like, well, what if we genetically modify this yeast over here and make human lactoferrin? And that's what they're doing. And so this is happening here. They're out loud about it, but there are other ingredients out there that are created through this precision fermentation that you don't even know. And so and it depends on the country here, and this is something that I think needs to be better, like, explained and everything. But if the resulting ingredient has no GMO like parts in it anymore, it's all been cleaned out, filtered, processed, and all that, you can call it non-GMO in America, not in every country. However, the process is very GMO.
It's super GMO, but I think I'm not adverse to GMO. I'm not anti-GMO. I think for a large portion of, you need to feed people. I mean, it is what it is. Yeah. So that's where you're at. But yeah, I do see that 100%. And I remember the word fermentation came in when I launched Extend in 2004. And at that time, I don't know. See, I didn't know that human hair and duck feathers, I didn't even know that was an option until someone's like, is this from human hair? I'm like, huh? That's a thing? Apparently they're shaving a bunch of Chinese people and synthesizing their hair. I mean, because it was from China, right? So I'm like, no, ours is fermented. And so the fermentation, I believe, a lot of the talk about fermentation came when, I don't know if you remember, Axis Labs did that when they came out with their branch chain, of course, after I did, because I was kind of first. When they came out with theirs, they were, they were essentially like, they did this scare tactic of it's human hair and duck feathers and all this crazy stuff it came from. And I bought, millions, tens of millions of dollars of BCAA in my life. I don't think I've ever seen human hair as a source. It was always from fermentation, but what a brilliant marketing scheme. I mean, I was mad that I didn't come up with it, because I was like, dude, that is brilliant. I don't even know where they're getting this human hair BCAA, but I guess it could come from that. And but that's when fermentation became like a word, because Axis Labs, and that was Chris Gatkis was the owner at the time. If I'm not
never
mistaken.
met him. I met some of their sales guys, but yeah, I don't know.
Great guy. I believe it was Chris. I believe he has a brother. That's why I get him confused. And man, it was brilliant. It actually helped our sales with Extend because, we didn't. Like, hey, you use human hair? No, we don't. And then we'd email accounts like, by the way, we don't use human hair either. So, it brought it out to the forefront. Again, I don't know if there was one human hair branch chain on the market, but fermentation kind of came to the forefront. And I'm just really excited about where we're going. I think NNB is doing a great job with ingredients. I think there's a lot of companies out there that are just doing a good job with IP. And with IP, you really need to have your studies. Like, you need to have your structure function claims, because that's what people are buying. What claims can I make? What claims can I legally make? Is there a weight loss claim? Is there an energy claim? Is there a cognition claim? So looking at all those, and then you have international patents. It's a huge game. And I still look at it completely differently with IP. I was like, oh man, they're holding the patent, now I have to pay more. Do people understand how much studies cost? Like, studies you're looking at seven figures sometimes to do a well-controlled study.
Mhm.